Of CBC Sports. For a change, several things have gone right with the Ottawa Roughriders this season, and receiver Stephen Jones is one of them. He's on the verge of a 1,000-yard season. Today, Jones and the Roughriders face the Calgary Stampeders at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa in Week 13 on the CFL on CBC. Time was, in just the last few years, there wasn't much to see at Lansdowne Park in the fall except a football team out of contention. There's a reason to come this year, and the fans have been. The Roughriders have broken even in the month of September, winning 2 and losing 2. Their record isn't great, but it has them in the hunt for a playoff spot in the East Division. A rookie running back has had a lot to do with Ottawa's improved fortunes. Reggie Barnes is a threat to reach the 1,000-yard plateau. He's made life in the nation's capital a lot more enjoyable for Steve Goldman this season. There have not been many victory gallops in Calgary in September, and not many victory dances. The reason is simple. The Stampeders, who were hot early in the season, have gone cold, winning 1 and losing 3 this month. The Stampeders feel they have far too much talent in players like Ron Hopkins to have slid so badly. Sophomore quarterback Terrence Jones is talented, but he will not start today because of a sore shoulder. With Rick Warman at quarterback, Calgary's Wally Buono is looking for a turnaround. The heat in the CFL is turned up a notch in the fall, and this game, which both teams really have to win, proves it. Welcome to Lansdowne Park, where for the first time in some years, the home team heads into the final third of the schedule, playing for something other than pride. If the Roughriders win today, they'll move out of the basement in the East and closer to a playoff spot. The game is of equal importance to the Calgary Stampeders, who know with the way they've played in the month of September that not even a playoff spot is certain. Now let's hear from Don Whitman and Ron Lancaster.
Scott, I think one of the problems with the Calgary Stampeders coincided with the injury to Danny Barrett. He provided them with the leadership. He and Terrence Jones were the 1-2 punch for the Stampeders. Then Terrence Jones got hurt, and they have struggled. Rick Warman is the starting quarterback this afternoon.
And that is a problem today. You know, with the weather conditions the way they are, that feels very slippery. I think the quarterback today has to be able to move around. Because of the footing, he may be able to get outside. He may be able to run straight ahead. Rick Warman is not a good runner. He is a passing quarterback, and passing quarterbacks have trouble in the rain.
Well, when you talk about a quarterback who is a good runner, you refer to Damon Allen of the Ottawa Roughriders. His scrambling could cause the Stampeders some difficulties.
Yeah, he's second in the league in touchdown passes with 24, but the big thing today is can they get him outside with the football? He can run up the lane inside, and he can run outside, and this will be a key factor in today's game.
And if the Ottawa Roughriders win today, it would be the first time they are out of the basement in the Eastern Division since way back in 1985. Scott?
Don, in Hamilton, the Al Bruno era is over, and we'll talk about it on Live at the Half with veteran Ticats lineman Miles Correll when he joins us live from Toronto. And the president of the Ottawa Roughriders, Hap Nichols, will be happy to tell us when he joins us live here at Lansdowne Park that the flow of red ink in which his team almost drowned has been slowed to a trickle. Watching the CFL on CBC.
The CFL on CBC, an exclusive presentation of Miller Lite, goes down great among friends. By Priority Courier, the official courier of the CFL. And by Diet 7-Up, challenge your taste.
Welcome back to Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. It's a cool afternoon this final day of September in the nation's capital. The temperature of 10 degrees, the winds out of the northeast at 15, and it has been raining most of the morning, although the showers do appear to have eased off, at least for the moment. Bud Steen is the official in charge of today's game. He and the other members of the officiating staff are moving in position as Mark McLaughlin prepares to kick off, and Stephen Jones and Stacy Dawsey are awaiting this opening kickoff by Mark McLaughlin. The Ottawa Rough Riders, losers of their last two. The Calgary Stampeders embarrassed by the Toronto Argonauts a week ago by that 70-18 score. Stefan Jones on the kickoff return, initially contacted by Stu Laird, and then he's pinned down at the 32-yard line, make it the 33-yard line, and that's where the Ottawa Rough Riders will scrimmage 1st and 10.
Damon Allen averaging over 6 yards every time he rushes the football, and I look for today for him to do a lot of running if possible. They don't want to just sit back in there with the field conditions as they are. It's better to have one man with the ball, and if he can run with it, that's what they want to do.
Damon Allen throws it over the middle. Barnes gets out to the 35-yard line. That will be a gain of about 5 yards. Clausey and Junior Thurman were there to make the tackle. They had that football spotted back at the 28-yard line, 1st and 10.
Reggie Barnes is over 6 yards a carry. The way he runs with the football, they're either going to run him or they're going to do just what they did there, dump it to him underneath Calgary's zone. David Williams has to be able to make the plays outside, but I think guys like Jeff Smith on a rainy day, inside, sure hands, can catch the ball for 1st down.
Reggie Barnes fumbles the football, and it appears as though the Ottawa Rough Riders have recovered with Kerry Yolorenko pouncing on that loose football, a former member of the Calgary Stampeders, getting that ball for a 1st down up at the 39-yard line.
Well, that's a little bit lucky. You know, those defensive guys need to get on that ball. Clausey's going to have a big game, but they are going to run Reggie Barnes. Kent Warnock, 11 sacks, good pass rusher, and Ron Hopkins can shut down Stephon Jones. That'll really help him outside.
But it's believed that Kent Warnock is still having problems with that injured ankle. The pass is intercepted. There was a penalty flag on the play. Matt Finlay makes the interception and brings it back inside the 40-yard line. There was a penalty flag on the play. It appears to be a holding call against Ottawa.
Holding, 65 Ottawa. Penalties declined. 1st down.
Gerald Roper guilty of the holding call, and that gives Calgary a 1st down at the 39-yard line as Damon Allen was intercepted by Matt Finlay.
Never saw Matt Finlay. All he saw was Jeff Smith, and then when he saw Finlay hiding in there behind one of the linemen, when the ball was thrown, he just stepped out and looked like it was right in his hands.
Warman directing the attack for Calgary, 1st and 10. Excellent field position for this first series. Warman is going to throw deep. It's intercepted. Intercepted by Dunlap. He pitches it out to Wilson, but the play had been whistled dead. Warman was going for the bundle on the first play for Calgary, and Troy Wilson comes up with the interception.
It's hard to throw the wet ball. When you're playing on artificial turf, the ball becomes slippery. Now, when Culp could give him a little bit of pressure, that might have hurt it, but the interception was made, it was underthrown. But on artificial turf, the ball gets slippery. On mud, on natural grass, you get some grind, some dirt, you can throw it better.
Dunlap intercepting, pitching out to Troy Wilson, but the whistle had already gone. So the Ottawa Rough Riders get it right back, and Williams is the target. He makes the catch. He got in behind Junior Thurman down the sidelines and made a catch for 54 yards.
You don't realize how hard this ball is to throw when he rolls to his left. Just a straight go pattern. Stay away from him. Don't let him hit you. Allen just throws it as far as he can, running to his left, but watch the good hands and concentration. Throw it out to the sideline. Williams makes the catch. He knew he stepped out of bounds, so he just stopped, but that's a very difficult pass to complete on a dry day.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 48 of the Stampeders. Movement at the line of scrimmage. Ballard was offside. The screen to Reggie Barnes. And Barnes is going to take a couple of hits from Clausey and Thurman as he's forced out of bounds. But the offside call will undoubtedly result in the down being repeated. It will probably be a 1st and 5 situation. Wally Buono was hoping that his team would get off to a quick start in today's ball game to erase the memories of that 70-18 shellacking at the Sky Dome in Toronto.
Offside. Calgary number 81. 1st down repeated.
Steve Goldman hoping to have his team break out of that deadlock with the Hamilton Ticats for third place in the Eastern Division. Winnipeg in front, Toronto in second place, and Hamilton and Ottawa battling for the final playoff position. Allen fakes, throws deep for Williams. He's got no. Intercepted by Darrell Hall. It appeared as though Williams had that football, and Darrell Hall pulled it away from him.
Caught him in a zone defense, tried to throw it far enough. He underthrew the ball, and if you watch David Williams try to make the one-handed catch with that left arm, but all he does is stop the football and allow Thurman or Hall just to reach in and take it away from him. If he pulls it down, it'd been a heck of a catch. The ball was definitely underthrown. It's good coverage. Stay in front of him. Don't allow that receiver to come back to the ball.
So the Stampeders, with their second interception of the ball game, get it again, and the pitch goes to Tony Cherry, playing his first game as a Stampeder, running to the sidelines and running for a gain of almost 10 yards, forced out of bounds by Jerry Dunlap.
They need to get a running game going, and Tony Cherry's going to have to be the one to do it. Andy McVeigh doesn't get the ball off it enough, and Rick Warman is not a runner. So if they're going to be able to control the ball on the ground, it's going to have to be Tony Cherry that does it.
It's interesting that the Stampeders this season have not thrown a touchdown pass in the opening quarter of any ball game.
Thank you.
2nd and 1. Andy McVeigh got across the 35 before he was driven back, but his forward progress should provide Calgary with a first down. Brett Young and John Mandarich forced Andy McVeigh back, and he did get beyond the 35-yard line. It will be 1st and 10 Calgary. 11:07 remaining in the opening quarter. The ball just across the 35-yard line. Warman fakes inside to Cherry. Warman's under pressure. He'll go down back at the 25 as Greg Stillman came flying up from his outside end position, his defensive end spot. He's really a rush end for Ottawa, and he forced the play.
Well, that's a 10th sack for him, and he tried a little play action, not much, just going to get outside. But what happens, it took two people to block up front and no one there to block Stillman, so you're going to give a pass rusher like Stillman a straight shot. He'll make the tackle.
2nd and 19. Sapunjas into the ball game. Toner out for the Stampeders. Draw play with Tony Cherry. Holmes is after him, but Cherry gets away. Cherry got all the way to the midfield stripe, and that's a big first down. Jerry Dunlap made the tackle. Excellent run by Tony Cherry on the draw play. 28 yards the gain.
Well, a great job inside. You look at the center. Tom Spallettini turns the nose, and Cherry gets to come up the middle untouched. It doesn't give Bruce Holmes a chance. A good move on a middle linebacker standing still, and a guy with Cherry speed will go right by.
1st and 10 midfield. Calgary with the ball. 9:40 remaining in the opening quarter. Warman throws over the middle, a high throw, but Beals is able to haul it in, and he fights his way to the 47-yard line. That will be a gain of about 7 yards.
Just cross him underneath. Ottawa likes to play zone first down, then they want to come after you with the blitz when they get you in that 2nd and long situation. So Warman looks downfield, doesn't like what he sees, just dumping underneath the Beals, and as it turns out, they still get 8 yards.
Credit him with a gain of 8, 2nd and 2. And off to Cherry. Cherry will get the first down. Paul McGowan made the tackle. Tony Cherry started the season with the Ottawa Rough Riders. He was hurt, lost the job to Reggie Barnes. And with Barnes running so well for Ottawa, he became expendable. He was able to hook on with the Stampeders. And this is his first game as a member of the Calgary Stampeders. And he has impressed in this opening quarter. 8:37 remaining. He's been running well. He's been catching well, too. At the 35-yard line, he will be very close to another first down. Stopped there by Jerry Dunlap. While Tony Cherry is a rookie member of the Calgary Stampeders, Lloyd Fairbanks is a veteran member of this team. And Lloyd Fairbanks today is playing in his 234th CFL game. Tony Cherry with a 2nd and 2 play, tried to get the first down, and he was stopped by Dunlap with help from Scott Flagel.
It'll be 3rd down.
Ron Lancaster leads the CFL in games played, 288. Dave Cutler, number 2 on the list, and Lloyd Fairbanks today playing in his 234th game.
That's an awful lot of games for an offensive lineman that goes out there and gets hit play after play after play. And I tell you, he's such a good person. He's a great guy to know, and I'm sure he's a big influence, a positive influence on that Calgary offensive football club.
Mark McLaughlin with a 45-yard field goal attempt. It's good. And the Calgary Stampeders are first on the board with 7:36 remaining in the opening quarter here at Lansdowne Park. 3-0 the Calgary Stampeders lead on Mark McLaughlin's 45-yard field goal, and McLaughlin prepares to kick off with 7:36 remaining in this opening quarter. Stephan Jones takes it at the 20-yard line. Jones runs out of room in the grasp of Matt Finlay up at the 35. Scott?
Don, because it's so wet today, this could be a very expensive day for the Ottawa Rough Riders. As the home team, they have to provide the balls for today's game. They would normally go through about 10 per game. Because it's wet, they figure they'll go through about 16, maybe as many as 20. The problem is, in such wet conditions, the pebbly surface on the ball is rubbed flat, so there's no adhesion, no way to grip it after a while. And these balls become garbage. If they go through as many as 20 and they cost $100 each, it can be a very expensive day. Don?
Damon Allen looking for a dry football. Instead, he hands off to Reggie Barnes, and Barnes should be close to a first down. Henry Smith, playing the outside linebacking position in place of the injured Ken Ford, made the tackle.
Well, that's a draw play again. You see Kerry Yelerenko, 69 at the top. Throws the defensive end away and then leads on the linebacker. But when Barnes tries to cut in, the linebacker ducks underneath Yelerenko to make the tackle. But the offensive tackle takes that defensive end when he comes, make him go outside, just throw him away, and then go get that linebacker. But he just didn't get the second part of the job done.
2nd and short for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Barnes took a tremendous hit right at the line of scrimmage. Joe Clausey really drove Reggie Barnes, and I don't know whether he made it.
Well, they signaled first down, but all you can say on a hit like that is, wow, they timed that just perfect. Watch it, the defensive line goes down, perfect. Here comes Clausey and Matt Finley, but Clausey really delivered, then Smith came in, give him a shot later, but that is a great hit. That'll give you a headache.
Clausey playing that middle linebacking spot for the Calgary Stampeders. Pass complete. James Ellingson making the catch up at the 50-yard line. That will be a gain of about 4 yards. Stopped there by the linebacker Henry Smith. 6:01 remaining in the opening quarter. Steve Goldman's Ottawa Rough Riders trail by a score of 3-0.
Henry Smith on the tackle.
Oh, we got an injury. I think it's James Ellingson on that out. What they're going to try to do is to work outside. They don't want to throw the ball in the middle, so they try to break both receivers to the outside. Ellingson is in the hole. He takes the hit in the ribs.
5:58 is the time remaining in the opening quarter.
Remember, the Rough Riders east from the east in April. Coming. CFRA Sports in the 2nd inning.
5:58 is the time remaining in the opening quarter. 3-0. The Calgary Stampeders lead. And the Ottawa Rough Riders are 2nd and 5 from their own 51-yard line. Reggie Barnes gets room and gets the first down as he carries to the Calgary 51.
Good job by the offensive line of Ottawa. Yelerenko and Brian Hill have been blocked down, and Gerald Roper pulls from that left guard position through the hole. And when the guard can go through there unblocked and untouched, you know the back's going to get through with no problem.
1st and 10 Ottawa. They are at Calgary's 51-yard line. Stephan Jones wide to the right. David Williams to the left. Allen fakes, rolls right. Can't find anybody to throw to. He'll run the football, and he dives down at the 45-yard line. He was in behind Gerald Roper, his personal protector over there on the far side of the field. And now there are a few others who might need a little protection, as there is some pushing and shoving going on following the whistle. Allen was able to run for about 8 yards, maybe closer to 7, depending on where they spotted. They spotted at the 45, so it will be 2nd and 3.
Well, that's the dimension that Damon Allen has that Rick Warman doesn't have. And as I said, on a field like today where it's slippery, a lot of times he can make big plays out of nothing. Instead of having a sack there, he gains 7 yards.
Penalty flag. Time count violation will be assessed against Damon Allen.
Time count. Ottawa number 4.
I think the official meant Ottawa number 9, because David Williams is number 4. He's a wide receiver, but the time count violation was definitely against the quarterback, Damon Allen. James Ellingson, who was shaken up earlier, is back into the ball game for Ottawa.
Let's blame it on David Williams. I was trying to figure out what he had to do with it.
Well, Williams is the target. He's open. Junior Thurman got there just in time.
Just can't get the ball far enough because Williams is going by Thurman now. That's 2 out of 3 times, and he had him beat very easily that time. Damon just can't throw it far enough.
Junior Thurman is hurt.
Watch the long strides that Williams takes. He just goes right by his inside. If he throws that thing out in front of him, there's no way Greg Peterson can get over there to help. But that's an excellent job by Thurman coming back and getting that right hand up in the air. And he's the injured ball player. He must have landed just wrong on his shoulder, but that's an excellent job.
Thurman did a fine job of getting back there to get a hand on that football. Checking his rib area. He may have just been winded.
Those defensive backs don't like to see receivers catching balls in the end zone. They don't like that referee putting those arms in the air. But watch him come back. Gets inside position, gets the right hand up. It's got to be when he lands. Bang, just landed solid. Just probably lost his wind. He'd probably be okay. But that was a heck of an effort by Junior Thurman. Damon's got to be going a little nuts. Boy, you get a guy behind him. Boy, you got to throw it far enough.
Junior Thurman has played all secondary positions for the Calgary Stampeders out of the University of Southern California. So he will have to go out for at least 3 plays. And that brings Mustafa Ali into the ball game. Rob Prodanovic centering the ball on 3rd down. Good kick by Baker, angling it for the sidelines, and it will go into the end zone. It looked as though he was going to be able to put it out of bounds at about the 2 or 3 yard line, and then it just took that bounce into the end zone for a single point. So with 4:02 remaining, it's now 3-1 Calgary. Joe D'Alessandris, the offensive line coach of the Ottawa Roughriders, doing some work on the sidelines as the defensive unit moves out, trying to stop the Stampeders, but Marshall Toner makes the catch up close to the 45 yard line. He'll be just shy of a first down. It will be 2nd and 1. 3:42 remaining in the opening quarter.
Marshall Toner hasn't caught many passes in the last few games. In fact, that's his first one in about 4 games. But as he comes off the ball and sees that linebacker disappear, he knows he's going to get the football. And he just made the turn inside, and Warman hit him.
Short yardage offense, Rick Warman keeps. Wasn't really a very good quarterback sneak.
No, it wasn't. He took too many steps to the side. I think he's still a little bit short. He's got to get to the 45 yard line. See where the ball is. I still think he's about 6 inches short.
It is going to be 3rd down. He seems to step over almost 2 spots along that offensive line for that sneak.
Yeah, you have to have the confidence in that offensive line that they're going to come out and blow that defensive line off there, or at least get a stalemate to where you can go straight ahead. When you start trying to sneak down the line, they'll keep plugging the holes as you keep moving.
Gorman this time moves to his left. He got in behind veteran Kevin Powell. He was able to pick up the first down.
Yeah, and he got over a yard on that one. He got less than a yard on the first one. That was because he didn't just get down behind the pads and go straight ahead.
First and 10 from the 46. And off to Tony Cherry, but Patrick Wayne, who is having a big season for Ottawa, is there to greet him.
Don't play it any better. Patrick Wayne just stepped across the line of scrimmage, took on the blocker. The blocker didn't finish the job, and watch him make the hit on the left side of the screen. Number 35, Patrick Wayne. Here comes the blockers. As he tries to go back outside, Wayne's just waiting on him. Patrick Wayne has moved back to his weak side linebacker position, and he plays better there. For some reason, they moved him to the strong side, and he was having problems, and he was having such a great year early, they put him back where he belongs.
Second and 12. This is a live ball. Troy Wilson grabs it, knocks it out of bounds. The Calgary Stampeder players eased up. Quarterback Rick Warman threw the ball behind him. It was a live ball.
That was a heads-up play by Troy Wilson. Boy, did he take off running, and he made a heck of an effort. All you have to do is touch it going out of bounds. He dove and slid on the ground, but watch the ball. It's thrown up behind him right here. There comes the sack. They just watched it go. That was Lloyd Fairbanks standing back there, so he can't get the football. But watch this effort. Just get the hand on it. That's all you want to do.
So Ottawa takes over, first and 10 from the 35, and Reggie Barnes will carry it down to the 15, to the 13. Troy Wilson has been a most opportunistic football player this year for the Ottawa Rough Riders, scooping up loose balls, intercepting passes.
Well, that's why you have to always look at him as one of the defensive keys. 8 interceptions and 8 fumble recovers now. That's a lot of turnovers that one guy's created, so he seems to be in the right place at the right time, and that was a heck of a job. What this means is every time a team gets a first and 10 inside the 25-yard line, that's the efficiency of the number of times they've scored a touchdown. So that's 47% isn't bad when you, say you start on the 24-yard line. That's still pretty tough yards to get, but they've got in 47% of the time. That's not bad. 1 out every 2 times.
Steve Goldman is hoping they'll improve that percentage as they look at first and 10 from the 13 with 1:06 remaining in the opening quarter. Henry Smith, the injured Calgary Stampeder, who comes out with Dan Wicklum taking his spot at that outside linebacking position. Damon Allen fakes the draw, throws to the end zone, touchdown, Jeff Smith.
We talked about Jeff Smith being one of the offensive keys. The reason for that, he's got excellent hands. No one has ever complained about the hands of Jeff Smith. The only thing they said, he didn't have speed. But what they do is they clear out this whole side of the field, and then Jeff Smith just comes over and tries to outrun the defender. You throw it out in front of him, and he will catch the football.
Quite an interesting story with Jeff Smith. He was injured prior to training camp. He was expected to go to the camp of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, suffered an eye injury. He did not pass the medicals. He was unable to participate in training camp. He was available when the Ottawa Rough Riders were looking for a receiver, and he scores this touchdown.
Bring the 2 wide receivers from one side of the field. They brought the slot back and the wide receiver across. That clears out the whole side, takes everybody out of there, and then Jeff Smith just tries to get ahead of the defensive back, which he did. And as we said, no one's ever complained about Jeff Smith's hands. Well, they said the thing that hurt him is his speed. But if you have enough speed in the other 3 positions, then a possession receiver like Smith makes a big contribution like he did there.
And because of that injury, he is wearing glasses. This is something new, a new piece of equipment as far as playing football is concerned for Jeff Smith.
Well, it's probably those protective glasses that you wear, to play racket sports and so on. And I guess, people don't think too much about their eyes until you hurt one, and then you remember.
James Ellingson still being examined by the Ottawa medical staff. Ellingson still a little unsure about his status as to whether or not he will remain with Ottawa for the balance of the season. Somewhat of a strange transaction involving the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Ellingson came to Ottawa as a form of payment, I guess you could say, for the Orville Lee trade. Sean Daniels was initially the player that was sent to Ottawa in exchange, but Daniels had problems clearing medicals. So as a result, Ottawa demanded another player. James Ellingson proved to be that player, but it is felt that he might return to Saskatchewan next season or even before this season ends.
Yeah, I don't like that business. Either he's an Ottawa Rough Rider or he isn't. If he belongs to Saskatchewan, get him out of town. But to me, he's wearing red and black right now. He's an Ottawa Rough Rider. That's where he should stay.
Gary Crawford on the kickoff return. Doing a good job of getting it out to the 45-yard line. 41 seconds is the time remaining in the opening quarter. The Ottawa Rough Riders leading by a score of 8-3. Troy Wilson was the man who alertly set up the Ottawa touchdown by racing after that loose ball. Calgary Stampeder players momentarily, I think, forgot that it was a live ball when Warman threw it behind him.
Troy Wilson didn't forget what he was taught since he was a kid. When the ball's free on the ground, go get it. Let the referee decide what happened.
Tony Cherry fights his way out to the 50-yard line. He's stopped there by Lloyd Lewis. 23 seconds remaining in the quarter. 8-3, Ottawa leads Calgary. Cherry was looking forward to this game against his former teammates. It was anticipated that when he was signed as a free agent in the offseason, that he would be the Ottawa running back this year. But when he got hurt, an impressive performance by Reggie Barnes ousted Cherry from the running back position. Pass is complete to Alan Pitts for a first down at the Ottawa 50-yard line. He was hit immediately by Jerry Dunlap, and that should be the final play of the opening quarter, with the Ottawa Rough Riders leading by 5. The Ottawa Rough Riders lead the Calgary Stampeders starting the second quarter. It's 1st and 10 Calgary. They are at the Ottawa 51-yard line. Foreman looks over the middle. Pass is complete for a first down at the 33-yard line. Sean Beals, good concentration as Warman delivered the pass right in front of Scott Flegel.
That was good concentration. As you see, they need to get that ball moving. Only 36 yards in the air. 5 first downs, pretty even, but the net yards are a little bit different. But that was great concentration by Beals, right over the middle. And Warman had the time to wait for him to get into the middle of those linebackers and then hit him.
Fake inside, Warman throwing over the middle again. This time Marshall Toner wide open. He gets a block from Alan Pitts and gets inside the 10-yard line. He was forced out by safety Scott Flegel, but not before Marshall Toner fought his way to the 7th.
Almost looked like Ottawa was in a combination defense. On the one side of the field, they were in a zone. On the other side, they were in man-to-man. Well, that's fine, but if a guy comes from the zone side to the man side, there's nobody to cover him. So Toner comes across the field, makes the catch. He's all the way down to Dunlop, and then number 14, Scott Flegel, before anybody can see him.
1st and goal from the 7. Warman fake, but he didn't fool Patrick Wayne and Greg Stuman. Greg Stuman got to him.
That naked bootleg, just trying to fake that thing to get them off of him and then turn and go out by yourself. But Stuman was having none of that. He did what he was supposed to do. Stay home. Don't chase it down the line of scrimmage, and as a result, he's there to get the pressure on Warman.
2nd and goal from the 7.
Calgary gets into the end zone 41% of the time. 2nd down, 9 yards. That's where they got to try to come up with that touchdown. The yards are tough to get down here.
But not for Marshall Toner when the ball is delivered like that by Rick Warman. And the Calgary Stampeders with that touchdown throw to a former University of Saskatchewan Athlete of the Year, Marshall Toner, lead by a margin of 9-8.
Just find that hole in the middle. He's always has had sure hands. He can catch the football. Got a little bit of pressure. You see Paul McGowan 29, but you get it in front of Scott Flagel. Toner makes the grab, and you see the referee right on top of the signal touchdown.
And Mark McLaughlin adds the point after, and the Calgary Stampeders lead by 2 and will return with the Calgary kickoff after this.
Traction is a problem in wet conditions, but the Stampeders and Rough Riders probably feel like they're playing on flypaper compared to the way they felt 2 years ago here at Lansdowne Park. Remy Watson fumbled on this day, but no shame in that because just about everybody who touched the ball in this heavy wet snowfall 2 years ago did fumble on this day. The Stampeders came only with turf shoes. They couldn't get any traction at all, and as a result, at least that's one of the reasons, they lost the game 19-3. And Don, I remember well in that game the $5 you charged me to use your boots in that snowstorm.
Yes, and I'm still waiting for payment. I'm going to tack on interest to that 2-year-old debt. Stephan Jones having difficulty back at the 8-yard line. And Wicklum brought him down at the 19-yard line. And that's where Ottawa will scrimmage 1st and 10. Damon Allen has had his receivers in behind Calgary defenders, but as you pointed out, Ron, on 2 occasions he has had difficulty getting the ball to them.
I don't know. I've seen Damon Allen throw the ball a lot further. I just think the ball's a little bit slippery today.
Does it become heavier when it's wet?
It becomes hard to control, and then, yeah, it does get heavier as the game goes on. That's why they try to continually change the football, but it does get harder to throw as the game goes on.
Reggie Barnes can't run. Mitchell Price made sure of that. I don't think he got back to the line of scrimmage.
That's a good play by Mitchell Price. The point of attack, they forced Reggie Barnes to hesitate, and Mitchell Price came from the backside of it to make the tackle. They was telling me yesterday about Mitchell Price's play. Has been very, very steady for him. He's done everything they've asked him to do. Very happy with the way he's performed, and if you can get to the ball carrier in a hurry, that'll make a coach happy.
It will be 2nd and 10. Allen's pass incomplete. He was trying to throw to James Ellingson. Ellingson had been bumped as he came off the line of scrimmage by David McCrary.
I think he is having a little bit trouble throwing the football. Watch when he lets it go. It comes off wobbling, and it wasn't the pressure. I think it's just a little bit slippery. You see the pressure coming inside, but he's been known to get pressure on a lot of guys. Kent Warnock, I mean, he's second in the league in sacks, so you expect him to get to the quarterback, but I don't think he interfered with the throw. I think the ball just slipped.
Terry Baker stands at his own 5-yard line, 12:35 remaining in the half. Calgary leading Ottawa by a score of 10-8. Wobbly kick that bounces to Crawford, and Crawford gets a couple of blocks and gets inside the 40-yard line. So the Calgary Stampeders will have excellent field position for this offensive series, with 12:18 remaining in the half.
That's Mark Singer, number 44 for Calgary. You see him continually trying to block, but eventually he escaped. Sean Foudy from York University was missed all last year with a broken leg, was out the entire season. Was drafted by the Rough Riders. They were looking for him to play last year, but that injury put him out for the whole time. But he's getting a chance now to finally get on the field, and that's where he wants to be.
Gorman delivers the ball, and this is a 1st down with David Sapungis inside the 25.
David Sapungis was the #1 draft choice last year for the Calgary Stampeders. Just a down and turn in, and again, no linebacker there, so you know that's where the quarterback's going to look. When that linebacker disappears, that slot back knows he's going to catch the football.
Sapungis out of the University of Western Ontario. He started the year as a backup. He has started the last few games at that slot back position. Crawford was the intended receiver. He was being covered by Daniel Hunter. It will be 2nd and 10.
Do you know, Don, Sapungis is the only #1 draft choice from last year's draft that's actually playing on a team this year. There's a couple of them that are back in school, but of the ones that came to training camp, he's the only one that's actually playing.
made a key catch on a third down gamble early in the season for the Calgary Stampeders that kept the drive alive. Here's a wide open receiver in the end zone, and it's a touchdown throw to Tony Cherry.
There's a complete breakdown in the secondary coverage, and what gave it away the best was the defensive back there for Ottawa, number 21, Brett Young. Brett Young started one way, and then all of a sudden, something triggered in his mind, and he turned to go back, but it was too late. I don't know if we'll get to see him, but you'll see number 21 starting back. Too late now. He's already went by, and he's in the end zone. Nobody close to him.
And it's in positions such as this that the receiver says, please don't let me drop this ball.
And the quarterback says, just get it there. Don't overthrow him.
The point after by McLaughlin, and it's now a 17-8 Calgary lead over the Ottawa Roughriders. 11:08 left in the half. Return up to the 40-yard line, and that's where the Ottawa Roughriders will scrimmage 1st and 10.
Boy, good job of blocking. Look how much time Rick Warman has to step and throw, and I know he can't believe it when he sees Tony Cherry that wide open. All you want to do is get it to him and say, don't overthrow him or anything. That's his first touchdown pass of the year. I guess he'd be happy.
Damon Allen trying to get to the outside, and he's forced out of bounds by Will Johnson. Allen will have a gain of 7 yards. Sliding in among the photographers on the sidelines with 10:41 remaining in this first half. Calgary leading by a score of 17-8. The Ottawa Roughriders came into this game with such high expectations, particularly after the 60-39 victory last night by the Toronto Argonauts over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They are tied with the Ticats for last place in the Eastern Division.
Also, they've been playing well. You know, they have done a good job, and it seems like early in the year they lost those close games, but they're getting better every week out. Got to throw that in the hole.
Stephan Jones was out of bounds when he made the catch. There was a penalty flag on the play. Penalty appears to be against the Calgary Stampeders.
Offside, Calgary number 74, first down.
The offside call against Mitchell Price provides the Ottawa Roughriders with a first down at the 52-yard line. 10:20 is the time remaining in the half.
This is one of the things that's really hurt the Calgary Stampeders. I think back to their game about a week ago, they got a lot of penalties called either on the offensive or defensive line, either procedure or offside. And right there, Ottawa would have had to give up the football. Now they get a second chance to get the 1st and 10.
Jed Tomey takes that center screen, and he's into the Calgary 52-yard line, stopped there by Kent Warnock. Warnock has had some problems with that foot, and what compounds the difficulties is that it's the foot he pushes off on.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think, what do you mean it's a foot he pushes off of? Anybody that you get down in a 4-point stance, one foot you like to push off better, and that's the one that Kent Warnock wants to use. It's that back foot where he wants to get all that push to go, and it bothers him and he just can't get it.
Reggie Barnes lost the football, but it appears as though he recovered. Had Mitchell Price on top of him, but he was fortunate to get that ball back. And Steve Goldman breathes a sigh of relief.
See Warnock goes straight ahead. Number 61, Brian Illebron, does a good job on him. Just stay between him and the ball carrier. Stay with him. Now get away from him. Not in on the play. That's all you want to do. You don't try to knock people around. Just screen them and get them to go away from or where you want them to go, not where they want to go.
Terry Baker stands at his own 43 for this third down kick. Again, not a particularly good kick. However, it does take a good bounce for the Ottawa Roughriders and bounces directly to Pee Wee Smith, and he's stopped in his tracks by Dan Johnson.
tackle is made by Johnson. Ryder taking
You know, you wonder about someone who's called Pee Wee and stands 6'2".
Yeah, I know. You see, Johnson's being blocked, but the problem was Smith had nowhere to go, so Mark Singer couldn't do anything about it. You know, he's just going to block him away. It's up to the ball carrier to get away. He's a pretty good baseball player.
Wasn't he drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays? Andy McVeigh was slowed down, but broke the tackle and picks up a first down out to the 36-yard line.
Stampeders.
Well, they break that draw again right up the middle. Now, we've seen Tony Cherry run it well. You see, McGowan's in some sort of man coverage with Sean Beals. That's why he has to run off, and when he turns around, here comes McVeigh with the football, so he makes the tackle.
8:20 is the time left in the half. Calgary 1st and 10 from their own 36. Gorman is throwing deep. Derek Crawford has got it. And Hunter catches him, but not before Crawford gets to the 16.
Well, we talk about Crawford. We made him one of our offensive keys. He come into the game with 10 touchdowns, 6 on pass receptions, the other 4, by the way, of returning kicks. This time, with the big exaggeration, he's running a stop and go. What he did down and hook, he runs a hook, and that's when Warman pumps it, and as he turned to take off, he fooled the Ottawa secondary. Almost underthrown, but he went and got the football. That's the big thing.
58 yards for Crawford, and now some concern for Steve Goldman as he is looking at falling even further behind, trailing 17-8 at this point. Hand off to Tony Cherry. Tough man to bring down. Brett Young made the initial contact, and Paul McGowan and finally Daniel Hunter finished the job.
This is one of the times where that good balance hurt him a little bit. He actually loses about 5 yards. You see him go through the hole. Now watch the hits coming. McGowan misses them. All right, Brett Young, 21, hits him, but the balance and strength knocks him off, and then finally Hunter, McGowan misses again, then Hunter comes and makes the tackle. He lost 5 yards by not being tackled in the first place he was hit.
On 2nd down, Warman throwing into the end zone looking for Pitts. He makes the catch, but he's out of bounds. So the Stampeders will be forced to send out their field goal unit with 6:45 remaining in this first half. Warman has thrown the ball quite well today.
He's throwing it very well. You know, he's got that deliberate throwing action. You know, he's not a real quick throws darts. He gets that long arm motion, and he's been extremely accurate with it today. He led the receiver there away from the defender, and that's all he has to do. That's his job.
He's 10 for 14 in the passing department, and Mark McLaughlin puts it through to improve the Calgary lead to 12 points with 6:28 remaining in the half. Well, the weather forecaster in the Ottawa area has been dead on this afternoon. He indicated there would be showers throughout the ball game. It eased off just at the start of the ball game, then began raining midway through the first quarter. And the precipitation is still coming down here at Lansdowne Park, with Ottawa scrimmaging 1st and 10 from the 35. Damon Allen is forced out and picks up about 4 yards before being pinned by Will Johnson.
Looking to his right to throw the football but when his running back went in motion, the linebacker hit him, and a lane never opened up for him, so Damon Allen did the only thing he could, and that's run with the football right up the middle.
Rick Warman has been good on 10 of 14 passes so far this afternoon, and right now he has reason to smile. 2nd and 6, Ottawa. Here comes Clossy. Allen got rid of the ball just in time, and Jeff Smith was there to make the catch.
This when you talk about quarterbacks, like there's no way that Damon Allen, he sees him coming, he knows he's going to get hit. Clossy's coming unblocked. The quarterback can't miss it, but watch Allen. Step, throw, and then say, okay, take the shot, hit the ground. Jeff Smith curled to the inside where Clossy would normally be if he was dropping, and Allen was able to hit him.
1st and 10 from the Calgary 52. Incomplete. Williams was the target, but Junior Thurman had a great shot at an interception.
Number 7, you see walking back, Darrell Hall really got in the way because Thurman had saw that pattern coming. He read the curl or turn-in pattern, and he was the guy who was going to catch the pass, and Hall knocked it down.
James Ellingson goes out. Dan Johnson comes in to the slot back position for the Rough Riders. 4:55 remaining in the half. 20-8, Calgary leads. This one is deflected as it was released by Damon Allen. I think Mitchell Price may have got a hand on that football as Allen threw it. At least it looked as though it may have been deflected. Perhaps it's just the way it was released by Allen.
Well, it's hunting season. You're getting ready for the ducks, come flying over. Yeah, that was another one of those ugly ones, whether he did or didn't, but the ball ended up fluttering off nowhere near anybody. And the fans immediately started to boo Damon Allen.
Since his first punt, Terry Baker's average has dropped rather dramatically. And this kick won't improve it. Pee Wee Smith on the return. There's a penalty flag in the play, and Smith is stopped at the 28-yard line by Reggie Barnes. There was a penalty flag up near the 30-yard line. An illegal block will be charged against the Calgary Stampeders with 4:24 remaining in the half. Scott?
Don, there's been a lot said about the firing of Al Buno this week. We have heard from the general manager and the owner, but not a great deal from the players. We will on Live at the Half when Miles Gorell, a 5-year Ticat, joins us live from Toronto. And the president of the Ottawa Rough Riders, Hap Nichols, will be with us live here at Lansdowne Park to exult in his team's much improved financial situation. We'll also have first half highlights. Don?
Hamilton Ticats coming off that 60-39 whipping last night at the hands of the Toronto Argonauts. 1st and 10 Calgary from the 15. The pitch goes to Tony Cherry. They've got him surrounded. Kalka made the initial penetration, and then Greg Stuman finished the job.
Watch the play of number 35, Patrick Wayne. If we get a chance, it's going to see it come from the end zone, but coming outside, 35. See him, he jumped over the blocker, took on the next blocker, and forced Cherry back in, and then Kalka, bang, he's there to make the hit. That's excellent defense. See the linebacker? There's Glenn Kalka there. Patrick Wayne jumps over one. Colombo forces him to the outside, and Kalka's in perfect position to make the hit coming back. That's good defense.
Marshall Toner makes the catch, escapes, and will get the first down and more out to the 37-yard line. Forced out of bounds by Daniel Hunter. Toner has been a favorite target today for quarterback Rick Warman.
Boy, he has been the favorite receiver. That's about 3 or 4 that he's caught either turning to the inside. This time he goes out, and Brett Young misses that tackle, and that allows Toner to get down the sideline and pick up the first down.
Brett Young committed himself, and when Toner got away, he was able to convert that pass into a first down. He's caught 4 today for 69 yards. Andy McVay was hauled down by Lloyd Lewis and John Mandarich. Actually, I think it was Mandarich who reached out the arm and caught him right around the neck as he was trying to come through that line.
You know, what's funny, Don, from our viewpoint, you see the block, and you see Cherry cut back inside, but all we saw was feet.
3:03 is the time remaining in the half. When defensive tackle John Mandarich stuck out his arm, Andy McVay must have thought he was running into a low bridge.
Now let's take a look at this. There goes McVay cutting back. All of a sudden his feet showed up. Where does his head go? Mandarich had it.
Second down. That inside toss to Tony Cherry as the Rough Riders were coming with an all-out blitz. Greg Stuman and Bruce Holmes were both in pursuit of quarterback Rick Warman. Warman threw one of those underhanded shovel passes in the direction of Tony Cherry.
I think it's a designed shovel pass, but you see the speed that Bruce Holmes and Stuman, they got a little bit, I know you want pressure, but they got there so fast, Cherry couldn't get across into the position that Warman wanted him, and he couldn't hold the ball any longer.
First punt of the ball game for Brent Matich. Stacey Dawsey had a little difficulty in picking up that football, and then he goes down at the 27-yard line. There's also a penalty flag back at the 45-yard line. 2:43 is the time left in the half. Calgary leads Ottawa 20-8. Penalty is against Calgary.
Calgary number 34 was tripping on that play. It's first down.
Andy McVeigh was guilty of tripping. He takes the ball up to the 30-yard line, 1st and 10. Jeff Smith takes the ball out to the 52-yard line.
Well, that was a nice pattern by Jeff Smith. David Williams on the play action. That gives him time to go out and go deep down the sideline. And then all of a sudden, all Smith does is go down, curl into the area, find a hole, and try to keep an open lane to the quarterback. And Damon Allen found him. And again, he knew he was going to get hit. Tremendous hit by Will Johnson, but Damon Allen steps in there. Quarterback's tough on.
1st and 10 from the 52. Under pressure like that, they have to be. Penalty flag on the play. As that counter action with Reggie Barnes picks up about 5 yards. It's an offside call against Calgary.
Well, we talked about that just a little bit earlier. The Stampeders haven't been happy. Coach Guano has not been happy. In the last few games,
Calgary number 81, first down repeated.
Their defensive line has been lining up offside, and their offensive line has been jumping, and that's just mental awareness of where you're at and what you're doing on the field. And that's the things you have to correct because that's 5 easy yards.
2:18 is the time left in the half. 1st and 5 now for Ottawa. They give the ball to Barnes, and Barnes will be very close to a first down. He made his debut against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, had a most impressive initial outing in the Canadian Football League. And that's when the Ottawa Rough Riders decided that Tony Cherry would be expendable.
Well, that's a good defense. Herman Smith, the linebacker, coming in, just following down the line. Clossy gets in his position, and Smith was there to make the hit. Brian Illivan turned up, tried to block Clossy, but that backside linebacker trailing the play makes the hit.
On 2nd and short, Damon Allen keeps, and he'll get the first down.
Come on, man.
Wally Buono, the rookie head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, named to the job on January 4th. The 20th head coach in Stampeder football history. Former defensive coordinator with the Stampeders. .143, clock running. Ottawa 1st and 10. The ball is at the 46-yard line. Allen has time. He underthrew the receiver, David Williams. I think the reaction from the fans is because they felt Allen could have run down the sidelines for a first down rather than throw the ball.
Yeah, and he had number 58, Rob Smith, out in front of him. The good play action fake and good blocking got Allen outside. Nobody near him. Rob Smith come around the corner. All you had to do is follow him down the field, but threw it short into the ground.
It's 2nd and 10 from the 46. 1:31 is the time left in the half. Now the clock will not start until the ball is snapped. Allen throws deep for Jeff Smith. Incomplete. Greg Peterson and Smith went up fighting for that football, and Damon Allen was able to release just as he was hit by Matt Finlay.
Well, if we put a camera on the quarterbacks almost on any team, they're going to take a tremendous amount of hits after they release the ball. But watch the concentration by Smith. Greg Peterson does his job. Go to the highest point and try to knock that ball down. Smith almost brought it down. But again, Damon Allen knows he's going to get hit. Here comes Finley. He's right in his face. And you get those arms extended and you get those shoulders underneath, it's a little bit tough on your ribs.
Terry Baker from the 50-yard line. It looked as though he was going to fake it. Now he decides to kick it. Derek Crawford starts from the 5-yard line and is down at about the 12. 1:13 is the time remaining in the half. Winnipeg, with their impressive 48-25 victory over the Edmonton Eskimos on Friday night, lead the East with 18 points, 2 more than the Toronto Argonauts, who hammered Hamilton 60-39 last night. Ottawa and Hamilton tied for third spot, each with 8 points. In the West, the Calgary Stampeders just a point ahead of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and this afternoon, later today, they'll entertain the BC Lions. Calgary leading this one by a score of 20-8. Andy McVeigh picked up about 4 yards. Greg Stuman made first contact with him, and then Paul McGowan came over to help.
Boy, Stuman, watch 45 come down the line of scrimmage. The tackle lets him go, so he just breathes and then reacts. That offensive tackle, when that play goes away, a lot of times he doesn't have to worry about it. He says, heck with it, I'm going to get the linebacker. But you got to remember how much speed Greg Stuman has.
2nd and 7, Calgary. Warman won't get a chance to throw as Patrick Wayne was blitzing. And Warman did not get set up before Wayne wrapped him up.
We talk about the season that Patrick Wayne was having. He had something like this. He's only had 7 sacks, but he had those in like his first 3 games. Warman did not see him coming. Warman's looking to his left. Watch coming from the left of the screen. Saw him just a little bit too late. And again, Patrick Wayne shows you why he likes that weak side linebacker special. He plays very well out of that spot.
Patrick Wayne has been enjoying a fine season for Ottawa. He's a graduate of SFU, 6'3", 225 pounds, the number 2 choice in 1987. One of the most improved players, I would say, on that Ottawa roster in this 1990 season. Brent Mattich kicking from the end zone. Excellent kick by Mattich. Dawsey has to go all the way back to his 35. Mustafa Ali makes the stop at the 40. It was Mustafa Ali who was the initial man downfield, got a hand on him. A 60-yard punt by Brent Mattich, and that's the kind of kicking the Calgary Stampeders wanted at that particular point of the ball game.
That's when you need the big kicks. When you're backed up in your own end, you're going to kick out of the goal line. That's when you want that kicker to come up big, and boy, did he deliver for them.
35 seconds remaining in the half. Calgary 20, Ottawa 8. Ottawa 1st and 10. They are at their own 40-yard line. They would at least like to get into position to try a field goal before the half ends. Damon Allen trying to swing it out to Barnes. It's incomplete. It will be 2nd and 10.
Getting a lot of pressure on Damon Allen, though. I mean, he's taken some pretty hard shots after he's thrown the football. That time, he really didn't have a chance. The only problem, the reason the fans are booing, that was another one of them ugly ducks. But what happens when that ball's wet and you step to trying to throw out to the side off balance, you're not going to be able to get the perfect spiral, and it's going to go like that. But he got too much pressure up the middle on him that time.
30 seconds remaining in the half. 2nd and 10 from the 40-yard line. Draw play with Barnes. He'll be stopped at the 45. Joe Clausey and Matt Finlay combined in making the tackle. I believe Calgary has now called a timeout to prevent Ottawa from taking time off that clock before punting on 3rd down.
I would question the call a little bit, you know, with 25 seconds showing on the clock now, but 2nd down and 10 at the 40-yard line, you've got to hit that. You're paid to make first downs. You've got to come up with that one if you're going to get some points. But the play, they got 5 yards, but it didn't take any time off the clock. Calgary calls time. Now they're going to have a chance to get points out of this exchange.
Oh, Brent Mattich came up with a big kick when the Stampeders needed it. Will Terry Baker be able to duplicate that performance? Pressure coming right up the middle, and he just got it away. Derek Crawford goes down at his 40-yard line with 18 seconds remaining in the half.
If you remember, Mark McLaughlin, I think, kicked the 54-yard field goal this year for the Calgary Stampeders. So with 18 seconds, they only got to throw that ball down the middle, look for Sean Beals or somebody across the middle at about 20 yards. They may have a shot at it. See, they tried to block it, but they just didn't get close enough. They did a good job avoiding Terry Baker, though, to not get called for contacting the kicker. But I still think they got a chance to get 3 points out of here.
Just a 4-man rush. Here's a draw play with Andy McVeigh. And McVeigh loses the football. Ottawa has it with 8 seconds left. You're shaking your head, Mr. Lancaster. Wally Buono is probably shaking his. I don't think you like that call.
Well, I don't know. I think if I'm going to run the draw, you see why he's going to lose the football. Slipping around, he doesn't have a real good hold on the points. You want the ends of the football in your arm, and then it comes free, and Ottawa now is going to get a chance at a field goal. But I would have thought they would have thrown the football, but if you're going to run it, give it to Cherry. He's the speed man. Now, I got nothing against Andy McVeigh, but right now you need speed. There's only 8 seconds left. He wasn't going to be close enough to kick the field goal. I thought they would have tried to get 3 out of that with Mark McLaughlin. They could hit that ball so well.
So Dean Dorsey will get an opportunity. A 47-yard field goal attempt with 8 seconds remaining. Ken Hobart comes in to hold. Kick is long enough, but it's wide. And Ron Hopkins will try and get out of the end zone, and he succeeds. And Hopkins simply takes it out of bounds at the 5-yard line. And that is the final play of the first half at Lansdowne Park. Calgary Stampeders lead the Ottawa Rough Riders by a score of 20-8. Leading by 12, the Calgary Stampeders will kick off to start the second half here at Lansdowne Park. Stephan Jones and Stacey Dossie are awaiting Mark McLaughlin's kickoff. He gets the signal from referee Bud Steen, and Stephan Jones waits for the kick at the 28. Mustafa Ali forces him out of bounds over on the far side of the field. Statistically, in the first half, the Stampeders had the big edge in the passing department, as Rick Warman was able to come up with an edge. And we have a change in quarterbacks for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Tony Kimbrough will start the second half.
Right away again, first play, you saw the quickness of number 74, Mitchell Price. Tony Kimbrough comes in, goes right to that quick handoff to Reggie Barnes, but as he's coming down the line of scrimmage, bang, Mitchell Price is there to make the hit.
Tony Kimbrough out of Western Michigan. Earlier in the year, he was the number 3 quarterback on the Ottawa Rough Rider roster. This would indicate that he has moved ahead of Ken Hobart on the depth chart. Penalty flags on the play as Will Johnson wraps up Kimbrough back at the 31-yard line. A procedure call against Ottawa. As a result, the Rough Riders will be forced to kick the football.
Procedure. Ottawa number 23. Penalties declined. It'll now be 3rd down.
Since the rule change, adding that 3rd quarterback to the roster, one of the coaches had a humorous aside. He said, now the fans will be clamoring for me to put the number 3 guy in instead of the number 2 guy.
That's why I like what John Gregory said last week about the 3rd quarterback. He said, we're not in the business of developing 3rd quarterbacks. Our business is winning football games. And he said, he didn't care if he ever got the guy in the game. And I think that's probably the philosophy all coaches really have.
Well, the fans reacted to the play of Damon Allen in the first half. There's no doubt about that. This is Derek Crawford on the return, and he is stopped up at the 33-yard line by Sean Foudy. Rick Warman started the ball game for the Calgary Stampeders, and he is going to continue as their quarterback, hitting on 11 of 16 first half attempts. Those 2 touchdowns represent his first touchdown throws of the year. And he seemed to have a preference for throwing to the slot backs, particularly Marshall Tony.
That's right. Of all the passes that are thrown, these aren't the completions. These are the numbers that are thrown in their direction. And he does go to the slot backs a little bit more, and Marshall Tony has been his best receiver today.
Andy McVeigh, the ball carry up to the 42-yard line. Stopped by Patrick Wayne and Paul McGough.
Again, from that weak side linebacker spot, you see him sit in there till he's sure he knows where McVeigh is going. Then he just closes in to get in on the tackle.
2nd and 2 from just across the 41-yard line. Andy McVeigh again, he won't get there.
While the leading tackler in the league, Bruce Holmes, when you don't make the block on the middle linebacker, he will control the area from tackle to tackle, and you got a good example of not only his tackling ability, but his quickness of how fast he got there to get McVeigh and prevent him from making a first down.
Mike Palumbo a little slow in getting to his feet. The Stampeders have moved people around along that offensive line. Palumbo came from the left side to the right guard position. Leo Blanchard shifting over to the left side. I said that he wouldn't have the first down, and he is well short, at least a yard shy. And with the measurement, Wally Buono makes the decision to send out the punting unit.
I think it's a pretty wise decision. That was well over a yard. If we think back with Mormon carrying on that quarterback sneak one time, he had a hard time getting that yard. So they've been playing well, controlling the game from a defensive standpoint. Why change it?
Stacy Dawsey is deep for this kick by Matic. It bounces to Dawsey at the 30-yard line. Dawsey gets a couple of blocks, and then as he tried to cut, he slips and falls at the 45. But there was a penalty flag back at the 35, and regardless of what Dawsey may have done, it would probably have been negated by this call.
Illegal block. Ottawa 36. Back 10, it's first down.
Brent Lewis was guilty of that illegal block. That takes the ball back to the 30-yard line. And the Ottawa Rough Riders have thrown more to their slot backs than to their wideouts in this game as well. That was a wobbly pass aimed in the direction of Dan Johnson. It seems both Ottawa quarterbacks, starter Damon Allen and now Tony Kimbrough, are having problems throwing the ball.
There are quarterbacks, Don, that just can't throw a wet ball, and they have a lot of trouble with it. And Kimbrough coming in has thrown 3 passes on the year anyway, so he hasn't exactly had a lot of experience with throwing even a dry ball. But we looked at those distribution of the passes. Ottawa and Calgary, identical percentage, everything right across the board. And I think it's because of that wet ball, they're looking inside. It's easier to throw inside where you can step right at the target.
Kimbrough throwing deep. This is intercepted. Peterson, the safety, came over to help out Hopkins, and he was there to make the catch. And with Peterson carrying the ball to the 17-yard line, Calgary will be in great scoring position when we return.
Hammer, baby.
Well, if Tony Kimbrough could get a pass back, he'd certainly like to have that last one back in his hands, because he threw to an area where Greg Peterson was simply waiting for the ball.
Throwing double coverage. There's nobody else, not another jersey around there. He threw it. Greg Peterson does just what he should, just sit back there. And then when you run over there to make the tackle, you take a hit from Matt Finley. So it was a bad play all the way around.
Well, Rick Warman is not noted for his scrambling abilities, but he did a good job there of avoiding tacklers, and has a gain of
down to the 9.
About 8 yards.
But exactly what we talk about in the opening, that Rick Warman couldn't run as well as Damon Allen, but you don't have to run as long as you can get out of trouble, and that's what he did there. He got out of the trouble and scampered up the middle and turned a loss into a gain.
This will be 2nd and 2 from the 9. Handoff. Spallettini gets the first down. He continues fighting all the way to the 3-yard line.
Inside the 5.
And that gets him the first down. That's the big thing. You'll see the Calgary Offensive Football Club now with that turnover by Greg Peterson. They feel if they can push this one in, they can take control of that line of scrimmage. Watch them come off. Tony Spallettini gets right in behind him. There's his brother Tom. Upfield is Palumbo. He drags it down to the 3. So they push this in. They're going to get a lot of confidence up front.
First and goal from the 3-yard line. Warman is going to throw into the end zone looking for Pitts. Incomplete. Dunlap was defending against Alan Pitts. It will be second and goal from the 3. Sometimes wonder about passing at the 3-yard line. You'd think you'd send in the short yardage unit and just go after it 3 times in a row.
Well, I think you got to do something like that. You just throws it out there. You see Kolka going after Cherry. I thought Cherry did a good job of blocking him. He didn't get to the quarterback. Anytime you keep the guy away from the quarterback, you've done a good job.
Second and goal from the 3-yard line. Swinging it out to Cherry. He won't get there.
Bruce Holmes and Paul McGowan. Little swing pass. I do have to think about what you said, Don. Put them short yardage people in there. All right, here comes Troy Wilson. Now, Cherry's going to jump over him to the inside, but watch what happens. Bang, Bruce Holmes hits him, and number 29, Paul McGowan, there to stop it. But first down on the goal, on the 3-yard line, goal to go. I think you got to run on first down. Give that offensive line a chance. We're talking about them building confidence, and they were coming off the football. That takes it away from them.
Mark McLaughlin with the field goal attempt, and it is successful. There is a penalty flag, however, on the play. It appears as though it's against Ottawa. And if that's the case,
Offside. Ottawa, number 27. It'll be a first down, Calgary.
that's a costly penalty.
It's the worst penalty in football. I mean, that is a joke to me. When you put the ball inside a 5-yard line, now I can see him giving them half the distance, giving the down over, but you do not give a team a first down. And that's a shame, but that's the way the rules read.
Ball on the 2. Stampeders, first down.
Well, I don't really see it. I don't know who moved, but somebody must have been lined up offside because they didn't jump. But that is a very costly penalty.
So the Stampeders get 3 more shots at putting it in the end zone with 9:55 remaining in the third quarter. 3 backs, McVay, Spallettini, and Cherry behind quarterback Rick Warman. McVay won't get there.
McVay.
John Krupke came in to fill the hole.
Well, they filled it in a hurry. They got good penetration that time. They got into the Ottawa backfield, which is where you don't want them.
So it will be second and goal.
Second down.
73 gets right between the center and the guard. Looks like they tried to reach both of them. You know, take the guy to the right. Center couldn't get over there. Krupke got into that gap and made the tackle.
Same set. Same ball. No, the fake this time, and Warman will carry for the touchdown.
Warman for the touchdown. 2-yard run. Close to Devers by Warman.
I don't think anybody was expecting that out of Rick Warman. A little bit of a fake to McVay inside. He has Tony Cherry coming as his pitch man. Brett Young came across to cover Cherry, but nobody's there to hit Warman. Watch, here's the fake. A little bit of fake. Now, option, the first thing that shows. All right, we see Brett Young come to take the pitch, but Bruce Holmes can't get there fast enough to control Warman, so he just kind of jogs in.
Rick Warman accepts congratulations at the Calgary bench as he comes off, and McLaughlin adds the point after, and that increases the Calgary lead to 27-8. 9:03 is the time left in the third quarter. This was a game the Ottawa Rough Riders were looking forward to. They felt that returning home after a couple of losses, they would be able to play well against the Calgary Stampeders. And Calgary, coming off that 70-18 drubbing at the hands of the Toronto Argonauts, looked somewhat shell-shocked and perhaps suspect, but that has not been the case.
Well, you know, you get beat 70-18, you just try to block it out of your memory and forget it, it's over. And but the big thing was Saskatchewan lost last week, so they held on to second spot in the Western Division. And right now, you get to that stage where you have to start thinking home playoff games. And Calgary right now sitting in second place, so they don't want to lose that.
7 plays to move 17 yards. The Stampeders, of course, aided by that offside call on 3rd down. Stephan Jones on the kickoff return, and Stephan Jones is caught by Mustafa Ali up at the 38-yard line.
You think Stephan Jones knows now they're not kicking the ball to Dawson? It doesn't matter which side 89 goes to line up. That's where they kick the football.
Well, the fans weren't happy, at least with their reaction to the play of Damon Allen in the first half. And Tony Kimbrough has started this second half for the Ottawa Rough Riders, but he has had even less success than his predecessor. Hand off to Barnes, and Barnes isn't going anywhere. A type of Statue of Liberty play that really didn't fool anybody. Scott?
Tom, this game is over for Ottawa starting slot back James Ellingson unless it's an absolute emergency. He suffered a first-degree separation of his left shoulder early in the first half of the game, labored for much of the first half, but it's really swelled up. It's causing him entirely too much pain for him to go back in unless he has to.
2nd and 10. Kimbrough throws to the sidelines. The catch is made by Jeff Smith, very close to a first down. I think he might just be a little shy of that forward marker.
Again, you see Kimbrough have trouble throwing the football. See how it's really wobbling, but watch Smith. Gets that leg down, inbounds. Going to be close enough that I think they have to go after it.
Short yardage offense is coming in. Kimbrough's passes have been very wobbly.
The only one that wasn't wobbly is the one that was intercepted by Peterson.
Well, they're going to measure this one. The Rough Riders, however, have already made their decision. That short yardage offense is in there. It's just a question of how far they have to go for a first down.
Oh, about a foot, but a 27-8 deficit, you have to go. They've got to get some offense established. They got to get some consistency. That's where they've lacked today, has been their strength all year, and that's offensive performance. I guess you give the credit to Wally Bono and the Calgary Stampeders have not allowed them to get on track, but from an Ottawa standpoint, that's been the problem.
Kimbrough will keep. He should have the first down as he dives straight ahead. Damon Allen did not play the last time these two teams met at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. And that game was decided on a final play field goal by Calgary's Mark McLaughlin. Damon Allen, who started this ball game, completed just 7 of 16 first half pass attempts and is now a spectator as Tony Kimbrough directs the attack. 1st and 10 from the 49. Another wobbly pass, and David McCrary has intercepted. It was intended for Johnson, but David McCrary intercepts, and Calgary will be 1st and 10 at the 45 when we return. Well, Damon Allen's first half passing statistics were not impressive, but Tony Kimbrough's are even worse. 1 completion in 4 attempts with 2 intercepted. David McCrary's most recent theft gives Calgary a first down at the 45-yard line. This pass complete to Derek Crawford. That hits screen. He'll have 9 yards. 6:59 is the time remaining in the 3rd quarter. Patrick Wayne and Bruce Holmes made the tackle.
Maybe Damon Allen got hurt or something that we don't know about, but I was a little surprised to see Kimbrough start the 3rd quarter. I would have figured they'd go with Damon, and if he didn't get anything going, then change. But right now, down 27-8, they've got to do something, and 1 for 4 and 2 interceptions really isn't good enough.
They rule that he touched down at the 38-yard line. It is 2nd and 3, Calgary. That pass over the middle will get a first down with Sean Beals on the receiving end of the throw.
Rick Warman's making the right reads. He's turning. He's throwing the ball on the money. Now, his ball is wobbling a little bit also, but it's been very, very accurate today. Again, he's got good coverage. Watch the defender. Right with him. Beals cradles that ball in.
Sean Beals did not start the season as a Calgary receiver. He was very impressive during preseason play. And since moving into the lineup, has been a favorite target. 6:04 is the time remaining in the third quarter. It is 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. Tony Cherry cuts back inside. And this is a pickup of about 6 yards. Paul McGowan and Scott Flagel combined on the stop on Tony Cherry.
I think Tony Cherry's not enjoying this. That's one thing I was reading about. He said he was looking forward to having a big game today here at Lansdowne Park. He said he didn't get a chance to when he was wearing their uniform. He said, but maybe today I can have it.
2nd and 2. The ball is at the 21-yard line. Hand off to Spallettini. He slipped as he tried to cut, but might still have the first down. If he doesn't have it, I'm sure it's close enough that Wally Buono will go after it. It is a Calgary first down. 27-8 is the score in favor of the Stampeders with 5:16 remaining in the third quarter. Warman throwing into the end zone for Toner, incomplete.
Pass intended for Toner.
He was being covered by Brett Young. This Ottawa secondary has yielded the most touchdown passes of any team in the league.
Good defense here, though. You look at the position that he has on Marshall Toner. The only way that ball can be completed if it's thrown short. When Toner broke to the corner, Brett Young was in perfect position to pick him up, and he did it.
Ottawa had yielded 28 touchdown passes coming into this game. With 2 more today, it's now up to 30. Rick Warman won't get a chance to try for 31 as Lloyd Lewis had a grip on the Calgary quarterback and brings him down as John Krupke flushed him out of the pocket, and Calgary sends out the field goal unit with 4:38 remaining in the third quarter.
You know, in the opening, Don, you was talking about the Calgary Stampeder problem started when Danny Barrett seemed to go down with his injury. In the first 8 games of the season, they gave up, I think it was 12 sacks. In the last 4 games, they had given up 19. And I think that comes from not having Danny Barrett in there to run himself out of trouble. And Rick Warman has been sitting in that pocket. They know where he is. They can go get him.
Mark McLaughlin makes the field goal to increase the lead to 30-8. Damon Allen is warming up at the Ottawa bench, an indication that he will be returning to the game. McLaughlin kicks off. The ball goes short to Stacey Dossie, and Dossie trying to get to the outside, being pursued by Wicklum and Singer. There's a penalty flag on the play. Stampeders have done a good job in covering on special teams.
Illegal block on that run back. Ottawa number 27. We're back 10 yards. It'll be first down.
The illegal block charged against Daniel Hunter. Some of the Canadian intercollegiate scores this weekend. Mount Allison over St. Mary's 16-9. Western beat Windsor. The University of Toronto defeated Wilfrid Laurier by a comfortable margin, and Calgary squeaked past Alberta 26-24. Damon Allen back in at quarterback, and Allen runs for a first down. And the most impressive performance of the intercollegiate weekend was by Chuck Sims of the Guelph Griffins. He carried 27 times for 331 yards in a 53-14 win over York. That's better than 12 yards a carry.
That's good anywhere at any time. That's a great performance.
Handoff to Reggie Barnes. And Barnes picks up about 4, stopped by Matt Finlay.
Yalarenko led him around the end, and he missed the block by Matt Finlay, and Finlay just stepped around and made the tackle. You know, I kind of follow the CIAU scores pretty closely. I've been fairly interested in the play of Chris Flynn in St. Mary's and Bill Torrance in Calgary. And, you know, Flynn lost his first game that he's lost in 3 years, and Torrance had a 12-for-22 game yesterday with a couple touchdowns. They can both throw the football. I like those two guys.
2nd and 6. The ball is at the 36. Allen is throwing deep. Stephan Jones can't catch up with it.
You know what the difference in the football game today, I really believe, has been Rick Warman has been very consistent of taking the first downs. He's been throwing to Marshall Toner inside, throws to Sean Beals inside. Ottawa, for some reason, is still trying to go deep. They had success once early to David Williams. Outside of that, they haven't hit any deep passes, but they continually throw it against the zone defense, and your odds aren't good at completing them.
2:46 is the time remaining in the third quarter. Calgary 30, Ottawa 8. Terry Baker stands at his own 22-yard line for this third down kick. The ball bounces between the two punt returners. It's picked up by Pee Wee Smith. And he's tackled over in the far side of the field by Paul McGowan. I mentioned earlier that Smith goes by the name Pee Wee Smith, which seems rather strange for someone standing 6'2". He said when he was a youngster, his mother called him Pee Wee, and he said, besides, my given name is Demetrius.
I like Pee Wee better. Pee Wee was an outfielder, and he also played football at the University of Miami Hurricanes, drafted by the Blue Jays. But the best thing about him, all while he played football growing up in the Pop Warner Leagues, his mother was the general manager. Said she taught him everything he knows.
First and 10 from the 13, handoff to Tony Cherry. Out to the 20-yard line. Credit Cherry with a gain of 7. It will be 2nd and 3. 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
I think Ottawa's got to stop this first down. It looks like it's going to be about 2nd and about 3.
Penalty flag on the play.
Objectionable conduct, Ottawa. First down.
Well, that's a mistake. I mean, they're trailing 30-8. They're down 22 points. Can't afford that kind of stuff on the football field. You can't even afford it when you're winning. But I'm glad to see the officials calling it. I think they need to call more of it.
Far too many discussions, pushing and shoving taking place after the whistle has gone on a play. So with that objectionable conduct call, Calgary with a first down, and Tony Cherry the ball carrier again. And again brought down by McGowan, but not before Cherry got up to the 36. 2nd and 4, Calgary, 1:27 remaining in the third quarter. John Mandrich draws the objectionable conduct call. It appeared as though he bumped referee Bud Steen, and that resulted in the flag. Derek Crawford, the intended receiver, an incomplete pass, and after an earlier miscue where the ball was still live, Crawford made sure he went after that one.
Sure did. He didn't know whether he caught it or caught it and fumbled it and didn't know what it was going to be called. But again, if the ball's on the football field, get on it. Let the referee decide what it was.
Dossie waits for it, fumbles it at the 40-yard line. It's loose. Calgary's got it. Sapungis is the man who pounced on the football.
The punt 35 by Manish. Fumble by Dossie and recovered.
Earlier, Ron mentioned that Sapungis is the only first-round draft choice that is on a roster this year. There are other first-rounders, Millington by Edmonton and Scrivener by Saskatchewan, who are with the team but on the injured list.
That's right. He's the only one playing, but you saw Stacey Dossie. That ball was not spiraling. It wasn't end over end. It was almost like a knuckleball coming down. And when Stacey Dossie was not set to catch it, the slippery football right through the hands, and another break. I don't know. Ottawa's trying to play themselves out of this football game rather than in it.
Hand off to Cherry. He's got a block from Kevin Powell. Lloyd Lewis was able to penetrate and make the tackle. Rough Riders have had all sorts of difficulties today. They just don't seem to be into the football game.
They're not, I guess the word is sync. I hear that a lot. I don't know what it means. But let's just say it, they're not together right now. They just haven't been able to get that offense on track, put 3-4 first downs together. I guess you have to give the credit to the Stampeder defense. They have not allowed them to get going.
That pass over the middle was intended for Sean Beals. He had been knocked down.
He had a collision with Troy Wilson, and he slipped at the same time. It was just kind of a bump, but they both hit, and Beals went to the ground, and the ball was thrown low. So Getting a chance for a field goal here on the last, what will be the last play of the third quarter. So Ottawa's going to have their work really cut out for them in that final 15 minutes.
Well, the Stampeders have been able to take advantage of turnovers. One led to a touchdown in this third quarter, another to a field goal, and Mark McLaughlin will be attempting a 35, make a 34-yard field goal. It's wide. Scott Flagel concedes the single point, and that is the final play of the third quarter with 15 minutes remaining. The Stampeders lead by 23. Well, the training staff continuing to work on Patrick Wayne at the Ottawa bench. But at the moment, the offensive unit is out there, 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line after that missed field goal that went for a single by Mark McLaughlin. Screen pass to Reggie Barnes, but Calgary was prepared for that one as both Joe Clossy and Matt Finlay got over from their linebacking positions. The wind has increased in velocity since the start of the ball game. And for this fourth quarter, the Ottawa Rough Riders are going into it.
Well, I just noticed a flag on the pole now, straight out. It wasn't like that at the beginning of the game, nor in the second quarter, so it's just been in the last 15 minutes or so.
Here comes the blitz. Peterson from his safety position, but Allen gets the throw away to Barnes, and he makes the catch. Or to Stephan Jones, I should say, and he makes the catch at the 48.
Ball was thrown a little bit behind him, and Ron Hopkins running away from the line of scrimmage. Stephan Jones adjusted to the ball quicker.
Statistically, the Calgary Stampeders, as you would suspect, with a 31-8 lead, have the edge in net yards, 326 to 217. 1st and 10 Ottawa from the 48. Allen's arm was hit just as he threw, and Calgary has the ball. Waller Ballard gets the interception off a couple of deflections. Will Johnson hit Damon Allen just as he threw, and that ball hung up in the air. It only traveled about 5 yards. Barnes got a piece of it. It was deflected, and then Waller Ballard hauled it in.
Right there, threw out that big right hand and hit the ball on Damon Allen's hand and caused it to pop in the air. Looked like Reggie Barnes was going to...
The Riders will about see.
First and 10 Calgary from the 44-yard line. Pass knocked away by Dunlap. It was intended for Alan Pitts. It will be 2nd and 10.
Ball was thrown low, a ball thrown up. Dunlap would have been going the other way with it.
Waller Ballard almost seemed to steal that ball away from Reggie Barnes.
He did steal it because it looked like Reggie Barnes was going to catch it, and all of a sudden Ballard ended up with it.
2nd and 10 from the 44. Pass is complete to Crawford. He's in a foot race with Dunlap. Dunlap catches him, but not before he gets down to the 8-yard line.
Boy, you have to be impressed with what Rick Warman does. The slot back goes down the field about 10 yards and across, and he just sat there and waited, give Crawford time to come in. The safety man was out of there, nobody there to help, threw it right on the money, and then Crawford, he had nowhere to go. He had him coming from both sides, so he just tried to outrun him, but very well executed. Good pattern by Crawford, but a great throw by Warman.
57 yards the gain, and it seems that every time the Ottawa Rough Riders have turned the ball over today, the Calgary Stampeders have come away with points. 1st and goal. Warman fakes inside, throws into the end zone, touchdown. Sapunjas on the receiving end of the touchdown throw. Well, this game certainly in contrast to their August 22nd meeting at McMahon Stadium. Calgary won on a last play field goal by Mark McLaughlin, 34-31. They now lead 37-8 with the touchdown toss from Warman to Sapunjas.
I think Sapunjas should take that ball with him. I believe that's his first touchdown reception. First-year man, as you said, from Western, scores his first touchdown. He should take the ball home.
Mark McLaughlin adds the point after. With 12:03 remaining, it's a 30-point spread. We'll be back with the Calgary kickoff after this. Well, Ken Hobart warms up at the Ottawa bench, an indication that the Rough Riders are making another quarterbacking change. Reggie Barnes on this kickoff return finds an opening, but can't get beyond the 40-yard line as he was tripped up by Stu Lair.
Well, Ken Hobart, you know, he needs to get back in there. Obviously, the touchdown first. A little bit of play action, throw it out in the flat. Sapunjas gets ahead of Brad Young and catches it. But now Ken Hobart gets to come in again. He had a bad game in Calgary, and he'll be the first to admit it. He said it publicly in the paper and on some interviews. He said, all I can do is wait for my chance to redeem myself. Well, this is his chance right now. And they're not going to win a football game, but maybe he can make this respectable.
Throws it over the middle. Fossey wraps up Barnes after a gain of about 4 yards. You know, we talked about the wind increasing in velocity since halftime. The temperature has also dropped. We started the game at 10 degrees. It's now down to 8 degrees.
Calgary
It's
number
a
93
cool,
is offside.
wet afternoon at Lansdowne
First down
Park.
repeated and 5 to go.
An offside call against Calgary. It's 1st and 5 now from the 45-yard line. Ron Hopkins had a 128-yard missed field goal return earlier this season against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Barnes on 1st and 5 gets the first down. BC leading Saskatchewan by a score of 7-0. So perhaps under new coach Bob Obilovich, the Lions over the final 5 weeks of the season are going to make a run at a playoff spot in the Western Division. The Calgary Stampeders trying to hang on to second place with a win today, and it looks as though they're going to do just that. They only lead Saskatchewan by a point. Will Johnson made the initial contact with Ken Hobart. He loses 3 yards in the play. 10:36 remaining in the ball game. 38-8. Calgary leads Ottawa.
Too much pressure that time. 4-man rush, but watch the pressure. Here it comes. First guy through. Ballard steps up in the pocket. There's Will Johnson, Mitchell Price. Price takes a pretty good shot from Gerald Roper, but I mean, there's the pressure. 3 of them right on top of the quarterback. 4-man rush. You should have more time than that.
Hobart can't find a receiver open. He'll run the ball. Hauled down by Matt Finlay, but he's got a first down. No, pardon me. He's got a gain of about 9 yards, but they were looking at 2nd and 13. So it's still 3rd and 4. And at 3rd and 4, Terry Baker comes onto the field. The Ottawa Rough Riders will be punting with 9:50 left to play. We'll get an indication on this Baker punt, just how strong that wind is. A low driving kick that really doesn't travel very far. There's also a no yards call as the ball is picked up by Derek Crawford. So the Calgary Stampeder field position will be improved by the penalty.
When it's time to play football, I exit the real world. Rather primitive, isn't it?
In Ottawa,
67%
of football fans tested prefer the taste of Diet 7-Up
Boy, were we thirsty.
over Diet Coke.
Someone tried to take my Diet 7-Up away from me. I'm afraid we'd have to discuss it.
Challenge your taste.
Officials
The Rough Riders were anticipating a crowd of about 25,000 for this afternoon's game. The weatherman didn't help that attendance figure. And now many of the spectators, because of the wet and the cold, have departed Lansdowne Park, particularly with Calgary leading 38-8. Spallettini, the ball carrier, getting out to the 45-yard line. Scott?
Don, 12 years of experience gone for the rest of this game from the Calgary offensive line. Leo Blanchard has a hyperextended elbow. Can you play next week against Saskatchewan?
Yeah, they're just resting it for today. Get ready for Saskatchewan. It's not too serious. Just don't want to get banged up anymore.
Hey, these fans love you. I think that's what they're saying, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't hear you on that one.
I said these fans love you here, Leo. They're cheering for you.
Yeah, that's right. They love us here in Ottawa. You know, we've got lots of fans behind us. We got fans all over the country.
Thanks, Leo. Don?
8:55, the time remaining. Second down pass, incomplete. Brent Matic comes into the game for a third down kick. He's a left-footed kicker, and many times with a left-footed kicker, that ball, particularly in wind, seems to come down just a little differently and causes the punt return people some problems.
And the reverse spin on it. It's got the backward spin when that ball goes up. Better get on it.
They better get on it because it contacted Kyle Hall. It hit him in the back of his foot. And Stacey Dawsey had to jump on that ball very quickly.
The funny part, they're going to get called for no yards. Kyle Hall was blocking on Greg Peterson, who was covering the punt. The ball hit Kyle Hall in the back of the foot, and the guy right beside him is Peterson. I think they're going to get called for no yards. Well, there's another flag down here too, though.
Another flag back at the line of scrimmage. Referee Bud Steen explaining things to Scott Flegel of the Ottawa Rough Riders with 8:38 remaining.
No yards. Calgary. Penalty has declined. Holding. Calgary number 44. That penalty is accepted. It's third down repeated.
Mark Singer guilty of the holding call. He talked about the #1 draft choice, Dave Sapunjas, playing for Calgary. Their #2 draft choice, Mark Singer. As a matter of fact, there are more #2 draft selections on the rosters of CFL teams than #1 choices. Stacey Dawsey on the return. Penalty flag on the play. This time I think it's going to be an illegal block against the Ottawa Rough Riders. So what they may have gained by that holding call, they'll lose in this. Saskatchewan at Calgary, our next game a week from today. And that could ultimately determine second place in the Western Division.
Holding. Ottawa number 30 on the run back. Back 10 yards. It'll be first down.
Riders call for holding.
First and 10 from the 30-yard line with 8:19 remaining. Williams goes wide left. Stefan Jones comes out to the right. Dan Johnson was the intended receiver. The pass was knocked down up at the 40-yard line.
Still pretty good coverage downfield and good pressure from Kent Warnock. After Hobart threw the ball, he put Hobart on his back. Coming right up in his face again, too.
Second and 10 Ottawa from the 30-yard line. Reggie Barnes. He's going to be 2 yards short of a first down. I mentioned Mark Singer as being a second-round draft choice who is playing. There are actually 4 second-round selections playing. Bruce Boyko and Chris Giaskis, both taken in the second round by Saskatchewan. And David Babel, the second-round choice of Winnipeg, in addition to Singer, who was a second-round choice of Calgary.
And I think Keith Kelly is also playing now with the Argonauts. Well, there are a few of them on the rosters playing some football.
The Rough Riders gambling on third down. They won't make it.
They had no chance. I mean, that Calgary defensive front four, they have done an outstanding job today, and if anybody has got through it, Colossi and Finley have been there to knock them down.
7:13 is the time remaining in the game. 7:13 is the time remaining in the game. 38-8, Calgary leads Ottawa. Calgary stopping Ottawa on that third down gamble, taking over 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 38-yard line. Good inside fake to Cherry, but Warman can't find a receiver. John Kropke finds Warman. There's also a penalty flag downfield. It could be a pass interference call against Ottawa.
Call holding.
Holding, Ottawa 29, 1st down.
A holding call against Paul McGowan takes the ball down to the 28-yard line. The BC Lions now leading Saskatchewan 14-0 in the first quarter. The BC Lions with a record of 3-8-1. Saskatchewan 6-6 coming into this afternoon's game. And the Calgary Stampeders are going to improve their record to 7-5-1. And the Stampeders would like to put some breathing room between themselves and Saskatchewan going into that game next Sunday at McMahon Stadium. Derek Crawford for a touchdown.
Boy, I'll tell you, that was an excellent job again by Rick Warman. Stood in there, looked to his left. When he looks to his left, he gets Scott Flagel to vacate the middle, come back and threw the post right down where it had to be thrown. He couldn't throw it high, because if he throws it high, they're in a position to knock it down. But Crawford catches it. Look at this. Watch the throw. Down inside, right on the button. Good job by Crawford. Touchdown. Nothing to it. Boy, Warman's played well today.
He really has. A complete turnaround for the Stampeders from their most recent outing, that 70-18 loss to the Toronto Argonauts. And the point after by Mark McLaughlin makes it a 45-8 Calgary lead.
You see Scott Flagel off to the left of your screen there, so he wasn't in position to make the tackle. Wasn't in position to help out. All he does is throw it on the money.
Warman has completed 17 of 28 pass attempts for 4 touchdowns. The most recent, Derek Crawford. And Warman also ran for a touchdown himself. Steve Goldman will look at this game, and in this second half, each time the Rough Riders turned the ball over, the Calgary Stampeders came away with points.
Well, a good football team takes advantage of any opportunity that is presented to them, and Calgary has done that. Ottawa, on the other hand, has never got on track offensively against that Stampeder defense. So I guess Calgary should win the football game 45-8. They've earned everything today. They've done a good job.
Penalty flag on this return by Reggie Barnes. This almost certainly will be an illegal block charged against Sean Foudy as he hauled down Darcy Kopp.
Also, it seems like every kickoff today or punt Ottawa's returned, there has been an illegal block on it. It's almost like they just weren't ready to play. You know, they're not there.
Holding, Ottawa 15, 1st down.
Sean Foudy was guilty. And on Sports Weekend, following the late local news tonight, you'll see the Spanish Grand Prix. That's following the late local news this evening. CBC Sports Weekend presenting the Spanish Grand Prix. Tom Porras may get an opportunity to finish off this ball game as the sun now breaks out over Lansdowne Park with the Rough Riders back at their own 15-yard line, and Ken Hobart's pass intended for Stephan Jones, but no opportunity at all for the receiver to even get close to that ball.
That's a timing pattern. A quick sprint by Hobart, a quick out by the wide receiver. You have to be together on where that ball is going, and Hobart, I'll guarantee, is not getting very many reps in practice now, being number 3.
Strange looking sky around Lansdowne Park on this final day of September. Hobart is going to throw deep for Stephan Jones. He overthrows him. Rick Warman certainly did his job today.
Finally, let the worm go to work. Do it for Steve.
Let the worm go to work. That's about right, and he did go to work today, and job well done.
Stampeders are anticipating that Danny Barrett may be ready to return to the lineup next week against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, he does make a heck of a difference in their football team. He's such a good athlete and a good leader. I think that those are the two things they miss. That leadership is very important. Warman today showed that he can come in and do the job if given a chance. So that gives a pretty two quarterbacks of different playing styles, and that's important.
Crawford picks it up, and on top of him almost immediately was Rob Brodanovic, the man who snaps the ball on 3rd down for Ottawa. This is the worst loss of the season for the Ottawa Roughriders. Early in the year, they were losing games on the final play. They lost one to Calgary on a 54-yard field goal by Mark McLaughlin on the final play. They missed an opportunity to beat Hamilton when Dean Dorsey missed a field goal in the final play. They lost in overtime to Winnipeg. But in this game, they have been totally dominated by the Calgary Stampeders. Porras gives to Spallettini. He carries to the 35-yard line. It will be 2nd and 3.
You know, the thing that's hard to understand, too, I mean, like here's a team that's tied for 3rd place, 4th place, whatever, but they're tied. They have a chance to get into 3rd place. You would think of everything that's going, this would be the day they would be ready to go. They just haven't shown they were ready to play football today. I think there was an inkling of it the other day when Glenn Kolka called a team meeting. I'm not big on that team meeting, guys. Just go play football and get the job done.
The Stampeders in this game well above their seasonal average for total offense. A pass interference call against Daniel Hunter. Pee Wee Smith into the ball game as a receiver for the Stampeders. And while Calgary is ahead of its average.
Pass interference, Ottawa 27, 1st down.
The Ottawa Roughriders are below their seasonal offensive average.
Well, that's been their strong point this year was offense. But there's no doubt about what this penalty is. Came right through his head. The ball was thrown on the money. Hunter interferes, 1st down. But the strength of Ottawa this year has been their offense. They want that defense to come on, but today they was asking too much. Defense has been on the field too much.
Spallettini is stopped by Greg Stuman right at the 20-yard line.
It's when you test character. You see a guy like Stuman, 45-8, he's still hustling. Bruce Holmes still hustling. It's when you find out a little bit about your people. You know, you don't win them all. Sometimes you get beat bad, but there's never any reason for not going 100% on every play.
Second and 9. Porras will keep. He's got a 1st down.
Option quarterback. We see Warman score a touchdown with it. Porras says, heck, if Rick Warman can run it, I can run it. So Porras fakes that ball inside and turns upfield, does a good job. Fakes to Spallettini. Watch, he fakes to Spallettini right here. Now, cut inside, cuts back against the flow, tries to turn upfield, down to about the 7-yard line.
Glenn Kolka, an injured Ottawa player, resulting in a delay with 3:25 remaining. You know, you talked about Greg Stuman giving it his all despite the fact his team trails 45-8 in the final moments. I think most athletes, if they had one line to be written about them as it pertained to their careers, would like it to read, played hard, played hurt, gave their all every play.
That's what it's all about. There's never a guarantee when you go on the field you're going to win or you're going to lose or it's going to be tied or you're even going to finish the game. But one thing that you can do is anytime you cross that playing field line, whether it's baseball or football or basketball, it doesn't matter. When you go out there, you play as well as you can and as hard as you can for as long as you can. And then that's about all you can ask.
Porras throws, knocked away just at the last moment by Daniel Hunter. It was intended for Pee Wee Smith.
That's good coverage by Hunter that time. On the curl pattern, we saw him come right through the head of Pee Wee Smith and get called for interference, but that time he just reached out, bats it down.
3:07 is the time remaining. It will be 2nd and goal, Calgary, when we return.
3-minute warning, coach. Thank you.
I like Diet 7-Up. I like to hit people. If I had to give one of them up, I'd say no.
In BC, 64% of football fans tested preferred the taste of Diet 7-Up over Diet Coke.
I'm really very nice.
Challenge your taste.
10. Boston 5.
3:07 remaining. Glenn Kulka having his left leg examined. Kulka replaced by Rob Prodanovic as Calgary lines up second and goal from the 7-yard line. Hand off to Tony Cherry. Cherry trying to get into the end zone. He succeeds.
I don't know. They're going to give it to him. They're going to mark a touchdown. Good. He went after. You know, he wanted to put that one in. That's his second touchdown today. Well, when he turned the corner on that play action or that little handoff behind, he had number 61 right out in front of him. Tom Spaltini. I get Tony and Tom and the rest of them. There it is, at that Statue of Liberty. Watch number 61. A good block. Now watch 61, Tom Spaltini lead him in. But right here, he decides he's going. He broke the plane of it into the end zone.
The point after by Mark McLaughlin.
I told you one through, baby. It's a sitcom. It's a comedy. We're loving you. Go!
52-8 with that Tony Cherry touchdown. The Stampeders lead.
Watch him turn on. Now right here, he decides, okay, let's go for it. Paul McGowan's there to make the hit, but he falls forward and he falls into the end zone.
Hey, I tried, baby. I know money and Tyler, I love you. You gotta come soon, all right?
Do you ever wonder, all the people hollering on television, I wonder if they ever wonder sometimes how weird they look. I've often wondered about that.
The most points that the Stampeders have ever scored in a single game, 55. That was against Calgary on October 17th, 1982. They won 55-48. And that at that time was a league record, which was broken this year by the Toronto Argonauts in their game against the BC Lions. Reggie Barnes on the return, and Barnes is stopped at the 16-yard line. So the Stampeders are within 3 points of equaling the club record for most points ever scored in a single game. And you know, it's been a strange season. The first half of the year, every game was decided by a field goal, a single point, overtime. In the second half of the season, the scores have been unbelievably high.
I think that one thing, a team like the Argonauts, they're together with a new coaching staff and everything. Calgary Stampeders, new coaching staff. It takes them a while to start to gel. It takes the defenses a while to start to play a little better. That's why you see the defenses get better as the season goes along, and they will take it out on some of the other teams' offenses.
Sean Daniels makes the catch.
Sean Daniels got to be happy to be here in Ottawa. You know, he came out of Bowling Green. He went to the Dallas Cowboys. He wanted number 34, and a guy named Herschel Walker had it. He went to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 34 belonged to a guy that he'll never get that jersey. So the only way he can get is come to Ottawa. He had a better chance of getting Herschel Walker's, though, than he did George Reed's.
Yeah, I think so. But it was embarrassing for Sean Daniels when he went back to Taylor Field in his first game as a member of the Ottawa Roughriders. They had his name sewn on the back of his uniform spelled D-E-N-I-A-L-S. Denials instead of Daniels.
Sean Daniels, 240 pounds, and he moves pretty well. Young fullback, halfback, but a ball carrier. I think he's got a pretty good career ahead of him.
Stephan Jones underthrown. As you said earlier, seemed to be out of sync.
Yeah, they haven't had their offense in gear all day. They just haven't hit. Like on that particular play, finally Stephan Jones gets open on and out. Hobart throws it in the ground. It's just been one of those days. And I guess in a lot of ways, Calgary gets the credit for that because they haven't allowed them to get on track.
Second and 10 from the 35-yard line. 52-8, Calgary leads Ottawa. Hobart's pass intended for Jeff Smith. It's incomplete.
well-thrown football, but it was excellent defense. You saw number 92, Herman Smith. He's their designated linebacker, designated import, getting in there, knocked that ball down.
Jeff Smith scoring the only touchdown that the Ottawa Rough Riders have been able to put on the board this afternoon. 1:52 is the time remaining. Ken Hobart, the third Ottawa quarterback. Damon Allen started. He gave way at the start of the third quarter to Tony Kimbrough. Allen came back in and then was subsequently replaced by Ken Hobart. Baker's third down kick. Hangs up there. Taken by Crawford. This draws a no yards flag. Both Scott Flagel and Paul McGowan were inside that 5-yard area.
No return by Crawford.
So with 1:43 remaining, the Calgary Stampeders, under the direction of
Ottawa number
Tom Porras,
74, first down Calgary,
have an opportunity to add to their 52-8 advantage. What a reversal from last week when they were humiliated 70-18 by the Toronto Argonauts.
I was just thinking yesterday at the press conference, they was talking about who would be the backup quarterback for Calgary. They said Terrence Jones, but he has that little bit of a shoulder problem on his left arm, left shoulder. No reason to play him when you got Tom Porras there who likes to play himself. So let Jones rest for another week or so.
Tony Spallettini, the ball carrier, and he has a gain of about 3 yards. It will be 2nd and 7. It's been a long afternoon for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and they will travel to BC next week to play a team that appears to be in the throes of a resurgence in the Canadian Football League. They won their last game against the Hamilton Ticats, and they are leading the Saskatchewan Rough Riders this afternoon 14-0 playing in the opening quarter. Sean Foudy comes over to make the stop on Tony Cherry.
They've had a lot of success with that particular play today. It's that counter start to the wide side, handed off to the running back going the other way into the sidelines, and that time it was Kevin Powell, number 50, that led the running back Tony Cherry upfield for that 7 yards.
Third and 3, and the Calgary Stampeders will be attempting a 52-yard field goal. Mark McLaughlin has been good on 3 of 4 attempts today. He has the wind at his back for this 52-yard effort. It's going to fall well short and wide. Stacey Dawsey comes out of the end zone, looks for that opening, and gets it back out to the 23 with 52 seconds left to play.
When you see that ball turning as fast and as quickly as the ball did in the air, you know the kicker hit it too low. When they hit that ball just right, it takes off up there and just kind of flips nice and easy. When it's spinning real fast, it's hit too low and you don't have the distance.
Well, 52 yards certainly within the kicking range of Mark McLaughlin. As I mentioned earlier, he won a game over the Ottawa Rough Riders on the final play by kicking a 54-yarder. And with the wind at his back, one would anticipate that he would at least have the distance on that attempt. But as you said, he hit it too low and it fell short. And now Ottawa takes over 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line. Sean Daniels gets out to the 32. 48 seconds is the time left. This victory for the Calgary Stampeders will be their 7th of the season. They are at 7-5-1 and 15 points. They are 3 points behind the Edmonton Eskimos, who now have a record of 9-4 after their 48-25 loss the other night to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And the big thing is to get that loss that they had last week out of their system completely, come up with a big effort today. They've got a big game next week with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders at McMahon Stadium, and you know that 2nd place means a home playoff game, and that's a big one next week.
Yes, that game next week for Wally Buono's team against the Saskatchewan Rough Riders could ultimately determine 2nd place in the West. Stampeders with 2 victories already this season over Saskatchewan.
Yeah, that's always a big plus. Plus that one tie, that 1 point. That's why it's maybe even bigger for Saskatchewan. We know that after today's game, regardless of what happens, Calgary will hang on to 2nd place. So next week they could put a little bit of daylight between them and the green guys.
This should be the final play of the ball game. Sean Daniels carries again. And that's the ball game. The Calgary Stampeders rebounding from that 70-18 humiliation last week to embarrass the Ottawa Rough Riders by a score of 52-8, and temporarily at least move into a 3-point lead over the Saskatchewan Rough Riders in the battle for second place, and within 3 points of the first place Edmonton Eskimos.
And they deserve full marks today. Their defense completely kept offense off track. They had never allowed them to get into their rhythm, and I think offensively Rick Warman did an outstanding job.
52-8, the final score, Calgary over Ottawa. Ottawa and Hamilton remain tied for third in the Eastern Division, and Winnipeg and Toronto will determine first place in a home-and-home battle next week and in 2 weeks' time. Winnipeg currently with a 2-point edge. Edmonton 3 points ahead of Calgary, and the Stampeders with their triumph today now 3 ahead of Saskatchewan, at least temporarily. The Rough Riders playing BC this afternoon, and Saskatchewan trails 14-0 that game in the first quarter at Taylor Field in Regina. Now, on the sidelines, let's join Scott Oak.
All right, Don, what makes the CFL great? Well, look at it this way. A team can lose 70-18 one week and win by 44 the next. That'll give a head coach ulcers, Wally Bono, but you'll take this victory.
Oh, definitely. And again, you got to be very proud of the guys. They took a lot of abuse all week, and they knew what it would take to get the monkey off their back. And I think anybody that saw the game saw the great effort and saw us come together as a team, and that's all we really needed, was to play hard.
Interested in what you had to say following the 70-18 defeat last week. That must have worked today.
Well, again, the only thing I appeal to them is that they're all men, and that sometimes you got to face the bed that you sleep, that you made. And we didn't make a very pretty scene last week. Our guys obviously didn't come to play, but this afternoon they really did, and they played very tough and very physical.
Feels good to win anywhere, but I'm sure it feels especially good for the Stampeders to win on the road, because you haven't had much success there this year.
No, that's true. At home we've done an excellent job, and on the road we've been maybe not as tough. And Ottawa was a tough opponent, and we got some breaks and we capitalized on them. And sometimes that's all it takes to win a big game.
You got a few good quarterbacks in Calgary, and we saw one of them operating at full efficiency today.
Well, Rick was really confident in what he was doing, and he showed that all week, that he had a good grasp of the game plan. And so for us, we felt that if he stayed within his own attributes, that he'd do a good job, and he was really good at that.
CFL head coach's job is never done, and you want to get out of here to catch a flight, get back home, and not lose a day in preparation for Saskatchewan next week.
That's right. We got Saskatchewan next week, and it's a real big game for us. And if I don't catch a 5 o'clock flight, we're going to lose a whole day of work, and I'd rather get back tonight and get back to work tomorrow morning.
If I keep you any longer, you'll likely miss it, so take off. Thanks, Wally Bono, and congratulazioni, as they say.
Thank you.
I know I butchered that once again, but I thought it was worth the effort. Back to you, Don.
All right, Scott. Well, it seemed in the second half, Ron, that each time the Ottawa Rough Riders turned the ball over, the Calgary Stampeders were able to take advantage and at least come away with something. As a matter of fact, I think they scored every time there was a turnover in the second half, at least 1 point.
Well, I think Wally hit it right on the head when he said, when you get the advantage and they make a mistake, if a good team will capitalize on them, and that's what usually turns the game around for them. And I thought the player, Rick Warman, today was outstanding, and he threw the ball extremely well. We're going to look at the touchdown here. It's a little fake off that counter that they like to run to Cherry. Cherry does a good job carrying out the fake, but Sapunjas just goes down, out into the outside, and he makes the catch, and that's his first touchdown of the entire pro career, so he's got to be excited.
He was excited with that reception, and then to wind up the ball game, Derek Crawford was on the receiving end of a touchdown throw.
Oh, I like this one. This one, look at him. Now, Scott Flagel's on the left of your screen. Warman's looking to his left, turns at the last minute, throws a perfect strike right down inside where the defensive back can't do anything about it. Crawford catches it into the touchdown, into the end zone for the touchdown. Sometimes, boy, I tell you, when you're throwing the ball well and thinking right, good things happen, and they happen for Warman today.
A much more pleasant trip home for the Calgary Stampeders than a week ago after that embarrassment at the Sky Dome in Toronto. The Ottawa Rough Riders embarrassed in front of their home fans this afternoon. They now go on the road to take on the BC Lions. It looks as though the battle for that third spot is going to go right down to the wire in the East.
Oh, it sure is, and we're going to have a chance to see that game in a couple of weeks, too.
All right, Scott.
All right, Don, Rick Warman threw 4 touchdown passes, ran one in himself. I'm sure it felt good to start and to close this game as well.
Well, it sure did. It's been a long season, and had to be patient and wait around, but it was good to get out there and get after it again.
I want to ask you about the motivation you had aside from coming back from the 70-18 loss in Toronto last week, and that had something to do with to whom you dedicated this game.
Well, I found out about 10 days ago that my brother went to Saudi, so today I just dedicated this game to my brother, Steve, and this is the game ball for him, and hopefully my parents can tape the game and send it to him, and it's in his dedication. I just hope that he hangs in there and that my heart's with him.
Well, what he's doing in Saudi Arabia is a much bigger issue than what happened on the field at Lansdowne Park today. But let's get back to this game. You really did a good job, I thought, of reading the Ottawa defense. You found a lot of receivers wide open.
Well, I finally convinced the coaches to let me call my own plays, and I've been around. This is my 5th year in the league, and so I just feel more comfortable doing that, mixing up the run and the pass. Tony Cherry did a good job. The offensive line did a good job, and I tell you what, in the conditions that we had, the ball wasn't always spiraling, but the receivers caught the ball. And again, if you can hit on all cylinders, then hey, we're a good football team. And I think that it helps when I get in the flow of the game and I can call the plays all the way down the field and use everybody, because I think that we utilize every aspect of our offensive weapons.
Rick, as if he didn't throw enough touchdown passes, you had to run one in yourself, and I know that must have felt good because it's been suggested by some that you're not a great runner. Let's have a look at it.
Well, you know, they were just right in the middle there, so I said, okay, we'll run the toss option, and you know, let Danny Barrett and Terrence Jones runs. I'm paid to pass, but if it takes it 1 yard, I think I can get 1 yard.
You want to, speaking of dedications, do you want to dedicate that run to anybody?
Well, like I said, I just say my brother Steve.
No, I'm talking about Ron Lancaster.
Oh yeah, well Ronnie and I can't run, so you know, we're paid to pass. But if you got to go for 1 yard, that one's for Ronnie.
All right. In a word or less, will you start next week? Do you think?
I better start next week, or else there's going to be some rumbling going on. No, just kidding. But you know, hopefully I'll start, and all I can do is control that.
Well, you're honest, Rick. Thanks for your time. Congratulations.
You're welcome, Scott.
All right, then. Here were the Ottawa Rough Riders with a golden opportunity to move out of last place in the East Division for the first time in 3 years. And then this, a sound beating administered in every area by the Calgary Stampeders, who don't have a lot of time now to think about this win. They return home to face the Saskatchewan Rough Riders 1 week today at McMahon Stadium, and we'll have that telecast for you on the CFL on CBC. Don't forget our late edition of Sports Weekend, the Spanish Grand Prix, following late local news. Goodbye from Ottawa.